Good morning. How's everyone doing? It's the Aha Ron here, and I want to talk about gratitude and talk about affirmations and talk about breakthroughs. And I may cry. There's a really wonderful person I highly recommend you guys follow. If you have Facebook, check him out. If you don't have Facebook, get on Facebook. I don't know where he is anywhere else. I suspect he's probably on other parts of social, but under Facebook, he's RC Clark. Everything's probably public on his profile, so you probably can find him either way. But the guy really is a really good man. He offers a entrepreneurship training class where you learn how to build relationships with people. And he's a kind person. Well, I say kind, I mean he speaks in a soft-spoken tongue, so he's kind of a gentle speaker. But he speaks really good. He speaks a lot about gratitude. And I just listened to his mini training, which he's offering for free, and it really touched me. And so I want to share a little bit about that. So basically what he says is he says that self-worth comes from thought times action. It's his formula. He's noticed this over and over in his life. He didn't make it up, he said, he just notices it. And what you got is you've got your thoughts, and thoughts, he's talking about conscious thoughts. We have the ability to control our thoughts. He really emphasizes that. We can allow good thoughts in, and we can only have so many thoughts a day, which I thought was really powerful. And so he makes intentional, he does 3 times a day, he does intentional thoughts, gratitude thoughts. He says stuff like, I'm thankful for this body, I'm grateful that I went and worked out. He says, I love myself for this. He doesn't even say I'm grateful. What I thought's kind of neat, saying I love myself for this, is we can bring it up a notch than gratitude. I mean, gratitude is kind of a symbol of that, but saying I love, I think, is even better, because you're getting that love. You're literally talking about love, which is the highest form, in my opinion, of energy. It's the God energy. I believe it's this spirit of Christ, if you will. That's actually a little different, I would suspect, but it points towards that, according to my belief system. I think I probably would classify as the spirit of Christ according to my belief system. I believe that everybody has the spirit of Christ, but I'm not trying to teach Christianity here. But anyways, this is my belief system. So I love how he says that. He says, I love that I just worked out. I love that I have a body that can work out. I love that I get to help people. I love that I'm building relationships with people. And something that we can do. He does it 3 times a day, which I think is really powerful. I personally have been dealing with discovering false core beliefs and then doing affirmations to help manage them. And I talked a little bit about that. Quick recap on that is basically through backward walking. It's a great tool for me. You don't have to do backward walking, but it's been very helpful. I discover something comes up, like a subconscious false thing or some conscious darkness, and it's like, oh. And then I can analyze, this thinks this, and this is also dialectic behavioral therapy. It's similar to that. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapies, these are those type of techniques. But you just I just discover, I think this, and the principle behind false core beliefs is that we all have a core belief system, and it's founded as we're children, consciously or subconsciously. It's how we're treated, it's how we perceive the world, and some people have a really good one. They're pretty solid. They're pretty functional. Some people have very bad ones. They tend to be dysfunctional and they struggle. And the reason why they have bad ones is because they have false core beliefs in there. Usually it revolves around low self-worth. I'm not good enough. Dad yelled at me, therefore I'm no good. That's a subconscious thought. But the thing is you don't know it's there. You just feel the emotion. You feel this sadness. You're like, I don't know why I feel sad every time I look at Dad. Because it's so deep down there. And so by doing these type of exercises, pondering, meditating on it, taking the time to do those kind of things, you can discover these things. And so that's the false core belief, or the belief system theory. And the way you deal with false core beliefs is you give yourself affirmations. So, for example, oh, I'm not good enough. Okay, we're going to have a rational conversation first. We can do rational conversation too. Why am I not good enough? Just because that doesn't look at me funny? Well, do people, just because someone looks at you funny, does that mean you're worthless? No, I mean, someone looked at you funny. Maybe he thinks low of me. That could be it. But maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe he's frustrated about something. Maybe I said something that annoyed him. But is that my fault? Maybe it is, but he chose to look at me that way. It's not my fault that he chose to look at me that way. And just because he's annoyed, does that mean I'm worthless? No, of course not. It just means that he's annoyed. And I don't want Dad to be annoyed, so maybe I will talk to him about it. Maybe I can ask him a question. Maybe see how that kind of works. You start to get more reasonable about it instead of being stuck in this lie. Oh, I'm worthless because Dad was annoyed with me. If that even is the case. Maybe he had a bad day at work. Maybe he's grumpy. That kind of thing. And then you start to do affirmations. Say, I am okay, or people make their own decisions. That's been a powerful one for me. They choose to act and behave a certain way. It's not my fault they chose that. That's a powerful affirmation for that type of false core belief there. And so anyway, so that's that theory. And but I really am liking what R.C. Clarke says. It's called Rebel Code. His thing is he calls himself R.C. Clarke. But the thing is I love the fact that I did that. I love the fact that I made an affirmation. Because I discovered that I don't compliment myself enough. Maybe you don't either. And things that I should feel proud of. Because he talked about, he says that when we do our self-confidence increases when we get better at something. He talks about, he uses an example of sports. He uses the example of sports. If you look at sports, like an athlete, when you first played a sport or whatever, if any of you sports players, you're terrible at it. But you start getting better, you start learning it. And then didn't your confidence soar? You're like, oh, I can do this. This is great. I feel good, What's like how it should be in life, when we start doing action. So we have our thoughts, then we do action upon the thoughts. And then our confidence starts to increase. And then when our confidence is up, our self-worth is up. We feel better about ourselves, We feel confident. And we know because we measure we need to be aware of that improvement. And that's where I have really struggled. It blew me away. That's why I was afraid I might get teary-eyed here because, he talked about, so I've been working on my sales prospecting, and I've really struggled with that. I'm really good at sales, but for some reason I'm really, really scared of prospecting because of some false core beliefs. And, I've been doing some affirmations on it. I've been going out and doing it anyways, and I've been teaching myself how simple it is, the principles of prospecting, just asking permission to talk to someone. And I preach that. I vlog it out, which I recommend for you guys. Guys, you want to learn something, principles are principles, and share them with the world. Once you learn them, share them, because it's going to help you lock them in, and it puts you in this beautiful state where you're not only are you just learning something, but you're learning and teaching. So it's like learn to teach is how you really lock stuff in. And thanks to vlogging and blogging and storytelling and content and doing our social media, we can do that stuff. Then we get to help other people. So we actually have a following. You get a little support system, So it's kind of neat how that works. We get to lift up people below you, and you get lifted up by people above you, and you connect everybody with everyone. So it becomes this beautiful network. And that's health, wealth, and happiness. That's connection. That's what we all long for. That's what the internet. That's really what the point of the internet is. Get information and to connect with people. In my opinion, that's really what we got to think of. That's the whole point. That's why the subconscious, why the collective consciousness wants the internet. Because we want to connect and we want information. So if we can remember those two things, all of a sudden this whole addiction to social and addiction, all these algorithms and all this stuff that's trying to addict you, it becomes you become in control. And you start to realize those are the two things you really are craving. That's why you're, consuming all this stuff, or, but you really just want to connect and you want to learn. That's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to be able to discover that. That's been a neat thing for me to discover. So I want to connect with you guys. So please share your thoughts and stuff. Any comments? They call it engaging content because I want to engage, and you want to engage with me. That's why you're watching this. So please share what your thoughts. Be critical. If you think I'm on the right track, think I'm off, let me know. It's okay. I'm can take it. Hopefully, if you're too mean, I'll just say, hey man, that wasn't cool. That's how life is. I feel this. That's just be open and honest. Anyways, friends. That's what friends are. We want to be open and honest. But yeah. So thank you, RC Clark. I'm gonna be checking your stuff out more. I'm gonna be using your gratitude, your I love. I'm gonna do it 3 times a day. I'm committing to do it for the next week. So I'm gonna make a little checklist. I'm actually gonna check mark it, and I will vlog about it. I'll vlog about it each day. Basically, talk about morning, noon, and night. I'm gonna say what I love about myself. I'm gonna focus on how I love that I went out and did, prospecting, because I prospect at least 5 people a day. I'm gonna talk about how much I love that, and then probably other things too as they come up. Another funny story about prospecting I want to share. So yesterday I did my prospecting. I did my 5. Pretty sure I might only done, because I'm kind of really strict on myself. But there's a real mean part of me that's like just mean to me, and I'm not sure why it's there. But it's just this mean, like, hey, you are worthless. How dare you not do? You didn't do enough. It's like really hard. I'm really scared. And it's like, and it's funny, because I think I did 5. I might have only done 4, but I did 5 people. I was warming up to a couple of relationships because I was following my gut. My gut led me there. And so I guess the mean part was like, well, you didn't do enough. But like the flow, that's the time I had to do it, and I got into other things. But I was sitting there, and I remember when I was finishing up the day, I talked to so many people. And I haven't talked to a couple of these guys in like years. So it really was like a prospect, because I pitched a new product to them, even though I did have a relationship with them. They're not just a brand new person. It's still prospecting. They're still prospects. So yeah, I did it. I did do it. I did what prospecting is technically. But anyways, I was sitting there, and I remember sitting there in my last prospect that I went to, and I was like kind of getting up and walking out. We had a good conversation. I did a fairly good job. I wasn't, I was a little bit anxious, but I was able to manage it pretty well and still, minimize the negative energy. And I had this conversation, and it's like, I walk out, and also I'm like, feeling that, well, you still gotta do another one. And I was like, I remember just thinking to myself, I said, really? And I cussed myself. I cussed at that part of it. I was like, really? You beepity beep? You really gonna be that hard on me? And I sat there, and it kind of was like, oh, it's kind of like your dad, or like, you have like the coach that's real mean to you, kind of trying to motivate you. And you look at me like, really? And he's just like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. I'm being kind of hard, aren't I? So it was kind of cool. I actually laughed a little bit. I was just like, oh. And I kind of relieved some of that tension there. And yeah, it was kind of neat. And yeah, but I've been so hard on myself over this prospecting thing. And it's like, why? It's not helping anything. I feared prospecting for years. I'm a great salesperson. I always kill it in sales, but I always hated the prospecting part of it. And and that ain't helping anybody, because I have all these like false core beliefs in there. This real mean guy whipping me. Do it. Like, dude, really? Come on, just get out there and do my best, and and then notice, allow myself to enjoy it. So obviously, when you start to enjoy it, which is a lot of fun, you get to meet new people. It's enjoyable. Even when someone says no, it's still enjoyable to get to meet someone. Who cares if someone says no? I mean, we all have a right to say no. I want you to say no. I mean, honestly, I want you to say no if you don't want, if my product's not valuable to you. Because why do I want to be wasting my time, for my own personal thing? I don't want to be wasting my time And I definitely don't want to be wasting your time, because I'm kind of tend to be a little more empathetic and want to help other people more than helping myself. It's kind of how I've wired myself. That's got to be a balance, it's got to be a win-win. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, check him out. I'm gonna probably learn some more about RC Clark, and I'll figure out how to put his link in here, and I will continue to talk about him, sure, because he's a really, really great guy. And hopefully, if you guys find stuff valuable, go check him out. And here's something I want to recommend to you guys as well. Okay, this is really, really powerful. Okay, this is very powerful. It's been very powerful for me. I used to be very stingy, and sometimes the stinginess comes out like, I'm gonna get, don't give away your money, because it's like money. Money is just anything else in this life, in my opinion. It's a commodity. It represents value. I mean, we all have a respect for money because of the things that it does for us. So be willing to donate. I've started asking people that I find value in, and I know I can't afford their course at this moment. My cash flow is not really at that spot. But I'm like, hey, do you accept donations? And I've started doing that. And I intentionally want to give, even though I'm like thinking, man, I hope I don't run out of money. I hope I get a sale before I run out of money. Because it's still kind of up in the air. I'm still pushing through with my business, and nothing's really steady as far as cash flow goes, as far as revenue. I might have some savings though, so I'm trying to be but really, guys, allow yourself to donate to where you find value. So if you see something really, and it's a beautiful thing, because you're showing the universe a real respect. You're showing God a real respect. You're saying, hey, and you're also showing that person that you really value their stuff. Like, I really value your stuff, sir or ma'am, or whoever they identify themselves as. I would like to offer a donation to you. Especially if someone's like a life coach that's giving out free content, Maybe you can't afford his course, or her course, or that person's course. Maybe you can't afford it at this time, but his little tip, maybe it got you on the right path. So be willing to offer. It's just like consulting too. Like, I do a lot of things where I find someone that I think is an expert in something I suck at. I'm like, hey, can you help mentor me a little bit? In the business world, you can call it consulting. Is kind of an old school way of saying it. It's more of a businessy term. Mentor is more of a human term, like a learning term. And consultants charge X amount of dollars an hour. So I'm one to like, hey, can I pay you something? Or let's partner up and help. Let's do this together, and you can get a commission when this thing sells. I have a partnership like that. To be differently project, I have a licensed therapist. He actually built his own root counselings down in Cedar City. His name is Milton. And we partnered up, and we're doing this thing together. He's putting some therapeutic science behind the backward walking, behind the the spiritual and mystical, and the energy releasement, energy side of it. So yeah. Anyways, there's another tip for you guys. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Really appreciate you guys for the opportunity to vlog, and I'm going to, like I said, 3 times a day. So I'm going to start off. Can do it three times a day, 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes per time. And then I will vlog each day about it. So tomorrow I will be here, and I will vlog about how it goes. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll let you know about RC Clark as I learn. And you guys have a great, wonderful day.